Hello, everybody. I am coming to you from the ABC News offices, actually my office at ABC News, where I can be physically distanced. I'm not at home because my wife and son are at home, and I didn't want to force them into some back room while I did this meditation with you. But there may be some days where I return home because I know a lot of you guys want Toby to make an appearance. That's my semi-feral cat. All right, so just as you know, we're doing these every workday now, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. It's no longer an experiment. That's the way we were describing it last week. Our plan now is we're digging in for the long term here. We're going to do these daily sanity breaks. We continue to work on our technical game, so if you can give us some forbearance on that front, we'd appreciate it. And before we dive in, I just want to give one pitch, and I'll say this at the end too. We have a survey up that you can find right there on YouTube, and if it's in the description, you can click on that. It's 30 to 120 seconds worth of questions. We're really trying to figure out how to do a better job as we proceed. So would love your thoughts on that. All right, let's bring in our maestro today, JoAnna Hardy. Hi, how are you, JoAnna?
Hi, I'm great, thank you.
Can you, I have a bunch of questions for you, but before we dive in on the questions and then the meditation, can you just describe your background a little bit for people who don't know you?
Yeah, I came to meditation, maybe as many of you out there, in pain and suffering and confusion. And, so I really decided I needed something that would help me settle in my own heart and mind. And so that was how I came to meditation. And it ended up being something that is obviously now my lifestyle. And I really started working, as far as being a teacher, I started working with young people. I started working with adolescents and kids and paying attention to what they need and the attention they need, and how mindfulness and relationship and really settling in the heart can connect us to the greater aspects of the world. Yeah.
You and I were chatting before we went fully live here about the fact that so you're in LA, if memory serves, and you've got a full house, and actually on some levels it seems like you're making the most of this.
Yeah. I mean, I work very hard. I travel a lot for my work, which is teaching retreats and being away, doing the mindfulness, the mindfulness movement, and it feels important and relevant to this time to stay home and stay still and appreciate my family. And we're cooking together, we're hiking together, we're sitting still together, we're talking, we're in conversation. So I have a lot of gratitude. And I'm also noticing I'm calling friends. It's such a strange thing that telephone calls. I feel like I stepped back into the 70s and 80s where there was a phone attached to the wall, and me and my friends are actually sitting and having conversations, and it's really sweet, it's super sweet, and they're basic and simple, and I have it's just a lot of gratitude. I don't want to seem over mushy about it, but I feel more love and care and generosity than I do fear and anxiety.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because I do think that there's a lot of fear, depression, anger, apathy, boredom, torpor out there, and so it's great for you to be here as a corrective to that.
Yeah, I've even found myself in tears with watching how compassion and generosity is alive, because I have been going on walks because I have dogs, and even that movement that people take of moving over a few feet has brought me to tears, because it's this hyper awareness about each other and the care for each other, and it just feels again like an opportunity to wake up and to say that we're not in this alone. Which is, thank you for doing this, because I think this is, one of those primary evidences that we're not in this alone. Every organization I know, every business I know is really trying to reach out to their sort of constituents. But yeah, this feels like a time when we don't have to feel separate at all. And it's really eye-opening. It has been for me.
Is there somebody walking upstairs in clogs?
No, it's my dog. I'm going to show you. This is my puppy.
Oh, he's chewing on a bone.
Chewing bone. I'll take the bone away.
I don't want to be responsible for the dog losing his bone.
It's okay. It's okay. This is the marshmallow experiment that I was talking about. It's delayed gratification, right? So
Gotcha.
This way that, sometimes we have to give a little bit up to take care of ourselves in the long term. Yeah.
Well, what I don't want to do is delay the meditation. So let's dive in on that, and then we'll talk more on the back end.
Great. So if I can, just a little bit of front loading on the meditation, really hoping that people can feel into their bodily experience, just really feeling their feet, their hands, our breath. So starting with that and allowing whatever posture you're taking to be okay. If you're lying down, if you're standing, if you're in your car, hopefully not driving, whatever way you're sitting, there's nothing and no way to be right or wrong in our mindfulness practice. So connecting to whatever posture you're in right now. And really feeling your body. Feeling what maybe there's a coolness or a warmth. Maybe there's some kind of tension or holding or tightness. Allowing yourself to feel the contact points of your body. So whatever you're sitting on, whatever your feet are touching, whatever your hands are touching, really connecting to this body that we live in. Allowing the mind, the thinking, the nervous system to settle. And sort of a message to ourselves right now is I can put this down for the next few minutes. Whatever it is that you're holding, carrying, thinking about, in the next few minutes, giving permission, allowance to put it down. And then softening the belly, allowing the belly to let go of any tightness, rigidity, holding that it's doing. And allow each inhale and exhale to just fully expand the belly. And when we allow the expansion to happen in our belly, maybe it moves up into our solar plexus area, the expansion up into the heart and chest area. Just seeing how much space, how much room we can allow for each breath, for each sensation in the body. We don't need to change anything or fix anything, control anything. Just giving yourself whatever is needed right now where there's no expectation. There's nowhere to be. There's nothing to think or do. Right now, this body is merely breathing. It's doing very simple functions. And then in that space, see if you can find some allowance, some tenderness, some kindness, some care. So allowing this breathing to happen, allowing ourselves to experience our bodies And seeing if we can hold that, hold the breath, hold the sensations with a lot of tenderness, a lot of care. Sometimes for me it feels like just wrapping a warm blanket around my shoulders. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. Allowing the nervous system to settle, the mind to settle. And doing this in warmth. And as the mind kicks in with ideas or thoughts, it's okay, it's normal. You can't do this wrong. You cannot be present with yourself wrong. Just feeling into whatever experiences are alive right now, right here. Breathing, feeling your hands, feeling your feet, keeping it very simple. Welcoming yourself back into each moment. Holding yourself in each moment. And when you're ready, if you'd like to open your eyes, but staying in this intention of presence. Can I have my eyes open and still stay connected to each breath? Can I still stay connected to my feet, to my hands, to bodily sensations, to the warmth, the kindness, the care? So just because we're in formal practice or our eyes are open and we're moving through the world does not need to change our intention.
Thank you very much, JoAnna. Appreciate that. Going to hear a little bit of typing because I need to log into my computer, which logged me out in order to see the questions that people are sending in. Here we go. From Vermont Bound 330. Since being stuck inside is our new normal, how do we deal with a lack of personal space/time, especially with kids at home?
Right. So hi, thank you, Vermont. I work with a lot of parents, and one of my favorite meditation places for parents is the bathroom. So that is one place that we can go and close the door and say, I need a few minutes. So actually utilize whatever. We have to get very creative right now, people. You know, this is not the norm. It's not the norm. It's not what we're used to. We're used to distraction. We're used to being able to get away. We're used to being able to, you know, really separate ourselves. And right now we're being asked, you know, there's this definite paradox, especially if you're a practitioner. It's like, how do I stay present and sort of like a little bit not present at the same time? How do I stay present and get away at the same time? And so when we're in a house with other human beings and other bodies, I mean, I know I got in a slight, you know, altercation with the husband last night about it 5 minutes later, but do what you can to be creative. I say the bathroom, I say the closet, I say wherever you can find, just to separate yourself for a few minutes is great. And then also checking into, what is the separation about, right? Is it that we actually need some physical distance? Or is it that the mind is really sort of perpetuating some kind of disagreement or some kind of, what do I want to say? What's it like? Okay, I know what I want to say, especially to parents. What's it like to turn into the skid, as we call it? What's it like to, instead of feel like we need to separate or remove ourselves, to turn into and face that experience? You know, what if you actually held your kid in that moment, or the person that might be bothering you? It's a big ask, but you know, when we're facing this, run, remove, escape, or, oh, this is what I have in front of me right now. How can I stay present to it? And how can I engage with it and say, hey, honey, I'm feeling a little bit annoyed and I love you, right? I'm annoyed and I love you. So this relational aspect to our practice, that's super important. That's so important. It couldn't be more important right now.
Terry asks, how can we calm the runaway thoughts about the virus?
Yeah. So the runaway thoughts, Terry, I totally get it. And this forward thinking, this anxiety, worry, stress, but where, you know, again, this is where the practice that we just did. So there's two aspects. One is the aspect of, where am I right now? Where am I right now? Right now, my feet are here, my breath is here, my hands are here. So returning, allowing ourselves to return to what's actually happening right now. And then, you know, a big part of our mindfulness practice is wisdom, right? So let's not throw out what we've learned, what we're hearing, what the CDC is telling us, what our doctors are telling us about how to behave properly, like how to show up, how to wash our hands, how to not breathe on people, how to have social distance. So the runaway thoughts, just really paying attention. Is this something that happens in your life anyway? And so you're learning how to work with these runaway thoughts in a different experience. I work with a lot of people one-on-one, and everybody I'm talking to right now across the board is saying, thank goodness for my practice. If I didn't have my practice, I don't know what this would be like for me right now. Right. So when they're talking about their practice, they're talking about the ability and the capacity to really trust this present time awareness, this present time experience of being with my breath and body. And so just knowing that the mind will go into all kinds of places and will tell all kinds of stories. So how can we come back to where we actually are?
We only have a couple minutes, but maybe we can sneak this question in. It's from Dan Harrington. He says, I'm considered an essential employee and can see the toll that my leaving for work every day is having on my youngest, an 11-year-old. How can my practice help me share my experience without worrying her?
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I mean, I consider that beautiful because, again, and I know a few of the teachers on here have talked about the people on the front line, but maybe for you, just really letting your child know that what you do every day is about the greater good, you know, and it's really about taking care of multiple people. And again, letting them know, depending on your fear, if you're showing a lot of fear as you walk out the door, our childs feel that also. Our children feel that also. So really letting them know that you're taking care and that there's a lot of people benefiting from you leaving every day. And, you know, of course, letting your daughter know how much you love her.
Great answer. Before we go, I just want to say a few things. One is that we'll be back here tomorrow with the legendary Tara Brach, great meditation teacher. if you are so inclined, it would be great if you could share these daily sanity breaks with everybody you know. You can share with them the link 10percenthappier.com/live, or just send the YouTube link. And also another thing to share with people, or maybe just to check out yourself, is we have, if you go to 10percent.com, we have a whole page called the Corona Sanity Guide with bespoke meditations for this moment and little talks designed for this moment. So go check it out. And finally, as I said at the top, if you could go to the survey in the video description, that would really help us out, because we're trying to get better at everything we do here, and we really appreciate that. Speaking of thank you, and speaking of gratitude, JoAnna, thank you very much. Great to see you. Great to hear from you at this time, too.
Thank you. Yeah.